regularly scheduled meeting of your Los Angeles City Council. Today is Wednesday, the 19th day of March in the year 2025. My name is Marquise Harris-Dawson, and I serve as chair of this council. Public comment will be taken in person here in the John Ferraro City Council chambers. Councilmember Price.
Thank you, Mr. President. Out of an abundance of caution, I'm going to recuse myself from item 9 because it's unclear to me who is working on this project.
All right, Councilmember Padilla. All right, I have a special on behalf of the Council President and the City Council of Los Angeles. We want to wish Councilmember Nazarian a happy birthday today. And there is cake, lots of carbs in the back to celebrate that day.
As many of you know, we spend a lot of money on our homelessness response, primarily on outreach, shelter beds, and long-term housing. That includes PSH that we're building, as well as rental subsidies. Homelessness response is complicated. It is necessarily interjurisdictional. We deal with multiple city departments like HACLA, LAHD, sanitation. It is also interjurisdictional. We're working with LAHSA and with multiple county departments. And when we started working on homelessness response in the city, we were spending way less money. And so we had a structure that seemed to fit that time, which is that we would allocate money to LAHSA, and then LAHSA would then subcontract with service providers to meet the needs that we were funding. But right now, when our funding for this issue has grown so much, we do not have anyone in City Hall that is tasked with ensuring that our dollars are yielding the performance they should be. No one in City Hall is tasked with knowing, for example, how often encampments are being visited by outreach workers, how many shelter beds are filled on any given night, how many vacancies do we have across our PSH units, and how long are those vacancies taking to get filled. This motion proposes a lightweight and fiscally responsible response to this gap, which is housing this kind of performance and oversight in the housing department, which holds our contracts with LAHSA. And our work that has already been happening on this, thanks to funding from philanthropy, has actually yielded results. Just from collecting this data and looking at outcomes, we have been able to increase the number of units that are being filled monthly in our city-funded PSH units from 74 per month to over 250 per month. And we are reducing vacancies so that we're at over 90% occupancy and actually over 95% occupancy at all of those buildings. That's just from a few months of work. Imagine if we enshrined this in our city, held someone accountable for it, and made sure that we were monitoring these dollars regularly. That's what this motion does, and I hope that it will win your support. Thank you, colleagues.
Councilmember Blumenfield.
Thank you. I want to thank Councilwoman Rahman for putting this forward. It's an honor to second this. It is so important that we consolidate all the things that we're doing on homelessness. You know, this is one city. We have a lot of homeless programs, and we need to have that kind of oversight. And it's a partnership, of course, with the mayor's office, but this bureau is obviously part of the overall structure that the mayor is the executive for. And I know the concerns are sometimes that, if we do somehow institutionalize it, that we're admitting that homelessness is a chronic problem. Well, folks, we've had homelessness for a while. It is a problem that we would all love to solve, but it is something that is here and we need to deal with professionally as a city. And this is the step to do that. So I'm grateful that you move it forward and appreciate all your great work on this, and urge an aye vote.
All right, please, ma'am, I'm going to ask you to stop disrupting the meeting. You've been warned once. Any other speakers on this item? Seeing none, we can open the roll on the item, close the roll, tabulate the vote.
13 ayes.
Mr. President, I believe the council may now move on to public comment.
All right, I just want to note for the record before we go to public comment, Mr. City Attorney, we have a member of the audience waving an obscene object in the air, all while we've been conducting business this morning. And so I want to make sure that is a part of the public record. Thank you.
Marini, Clyde Barrow, David Duke, Seba, Jeffrey Epstein, Audit LA, and Simon.
Good morning. You have 3 minutes for the items and 1 minute for general public comment. Please begin with the items. Go ahead.
Mr. Epstein won't be available today. He's not hanging around. All right, let's get to this here. Let's see. Getting to the business. And thank you for calling me by my natural name, David Duke. Let's see here. What are we going to talk about today? I have to go all through this agenda. Look at this. Let's see here. Item 91, let's start with that one. Item 91, I'm against. Item 92, I support. Item 94, I'm against. Item 97, I'm in favor of. Item 99, I do not support it with amendments. Item 100. Item 100, I have a big problem. I have not seen you put up the report. How dare you? Fuck you and the rest of you assholes on item 100. Item 101, I am
Which
thoroughly
items are
against.
you? This is not on the agenda. This is your only warning.
Oh.
Stick to the agenda items or I'm going to move you to general public comment.
What are you doing? Ew! Get on the agenda. Let's try another one. Oh, let me go back. Item 29. Fuck item 29 and fuck that fat bony cow cunt Regas. And then we have Hamburger Hernandez on item 30. Hamburger Hernandez, when you need a helping hand. Yes, she's doing a reap. Now, Hamburger, you're in support of the landlords. I'm glad. We need landlords or there's no housing. Item 194, I'm against. And getting back to item 31, fuck item 31 by Hugo Stalin Cunt-Regas. And then number 32, Stalin Cunt-Regas again on number 32. Another rape. Sell out of people to the landlords. And then we have Hamburger Hernandez on 34 again. And then, of course, item 33, 10-time indicted felon council member Curran Price, who will be going to court tomorrow at 8:30 in the morning, Division 32. Let's give him a hand. All right. That's right. That's right. Yes. And Tracy Park is waiting for the indictment to go through. And then item 5, KKK, Katie the Cunt Yaroslavsky. Fuck her. 37, the convicted, soon-to-be convicted felon again, Curran DeMille Price. Stalin wants a Hall of Fame for Ellen Pompeo. Who the fuck is Ellen Pompeo? Fuck her.
General
And
public
now for
comment.
the general public comment. All of you labor assholes are now going to have to renegotiate all of that grift and graft of 25% pay hikes. Bob, blob, and bald, the worst thing to come out of Israel since Tel Aviv fucking went neutral, is asking for your money back. Fuck you, Bob. We and the unions will not accept any pay cuts. And then, of course, you know what Tracy Park's going to do? She's going to start issuing furloughs and layoffs. That's right. She was up early this morning, scheming in the elevator, figuring out what she was going to do today. And then we have the illustrious Imelda Padilla selling out labor. Shame on you. And what about you, jackass Stalin? Are you going to tell your labor partners to take a 25% pay cut? I say, fire the Pumpkinhead. Let's say it, everybody. Fire the Pumpkinhead. Fire the Pumpkinhead.
Speaker, your time has expired. And Speaker, before you begin, let me just make an announcement to the room really quick. So with regards to the last speaker, and I suspect a few of the other speakers you're going to hear from today, for members of the public, we really do appreciate your patience. I realize that you've heard some things that are highly offensive. It does not reflect the views of this city. It does not reflect the views of this body or any individual member. We do have to allow them to speak during their public comment period. So please don't take the bait. Just ignore them the best that you can. And again, we appreciate your patience. Thank you. Good morning. Which items would you like to speak to?
Well, sir, I have three issues that I was pulled into this meeting at the very last minute, encouraged by one of our fine officers outside. And the subjects are homelessness. I'd like to a general
Okay, so
comment.
1 minute for general
1
public
minute.
comment. Go ahead.
Intertwining homelessness with the slumlord issue, especially the particular slumlord that the Attorney General is suing right now and the city attorney is prosecuting. I'm sure you know who he is. I'm not sure if I'm allowed to say his name. But I've been reading the letters that the City Council has written to the Police Commission regarding labor trafficking and human trafficking, and the general consensus, according to Detective Ruiz, is that there are no open cases, investigations for labor trafficked individuals because they don't come forward. I myself have been involved by force in labor trafficking for 7 years here in Los Angeles, and I've told the police a number of times, every time I encountered them, they did nothing, and I started reading into what was going on, and everybody thinks that it doesn't exist. It does. I've been a victim, and I still need help. The other thing is the slumlords issue. The LAPD did an assisted eviction from my house, illegal eviction. It's an uninhabitable dwelling. Yes, there's all of my possessions were put onto the corner to be sold and stolen, and that's it for now. Thank
Speaker,
you for
your
listening.
time has expired. A couple
Okay.
things, and this is a general announcement for the room. I realize that sometimes the time goes by quickly, so if you'd like to provide additional written public comments, you can do so at lacouncilcomment.com. It's at the top of the agenda. There's a URL. And if you could just wait at the side really quick, just to...
I believe
just-
Eunice Hernandez is my councilwoman. I'd like to speak to someone
Okay.
from her office, please.
Understood.
Thank you.
We have to move on to the next
Right.
speaker, and please exit to your right. Yes, thank you.
Okay, can you, before you start my time, I want to speak on all items plus,
Yep.
So
you have
this
3
is
minutes
the-
for the items and 1 minute for general.
before you start my time, can you give me a rundown of, so when you call me off topic, what other topics can I speak on?
So, again, you're here all the time. You're welcome to be here. You have 3 minutes for the items, 1 minute for general. Again, please stick to the items
I know, but can you
themselves
give me
that are
I
on the
wasn't, I
agenda
was at
for the
Public
first
Works
3
because you're at the
minutes.
same time. Can you just give me what items are on the agenda? Because you said some were
course.
removed. I can't see.
So as a reminder to everybody who's here, the items that are open for public comment on the agenda are items 28 as amended, items 29 through 42, and item 44. So you have 3 minutes for the
Thank
items
you,
and 1
sir.
minute
That's
for
all I
general.
was asking. Thank you. And Smoke and Scan wanted to know too. I know they were wondering over there. Anyway, okay, I'm here. I want to talk about the map one, the one with the map. That's in there. I did see that. And I've been here trying to tell you that your maps are wrong. And I don't trust this map being mapped correctly. And I'm going to ask Smoke and Scan if they agree. I think they would. If you guys have a fake street, L. Ron Hubbard Way is not a fake street.
So, Speaker,
This is about I'm making a comparison.
I'm looking at the agenda right now. I do not see a map item that's
There
open
is.
for
It's about
public comment.
updating the
So I'm going
map.
to ask you to stick to the agenda item, or you're welcome to speak to this during general public comment
No,
if you'd
it's
like.
in there, and I'm going to look it up, okay? It is. It's about updating the map, mapping out a thing, okay? Mapping something out. If I'm not maybe I'm not intelligent enough to know exactly
No
what you're
one's
meaning
saying
there,
that,
but it is mapping.
I think you're referring to the item that was on the agenda yesterday. So, again,
man.
the items
No,
that
there's
are
one today too. Okay, you know
open for
what? We'll
public
move on.
comment,
Okay.
There is not a map
But
tracked item.
make sure your maps are mapping the right thing and not fake red line curbed streets. Okay, so my other thing is all the houses. Like yesterday, you're all talking about just all lighting. Today, it's just about getting rid of houses off the records. Like, you're not really giving us the bigger, juicier things to talk about, things that really matter. Like, all these houses here, like, what, can I have one? Like, I would like one. If you're getting rid of one, I would like to have one. Smoke and Scan might want one. Can we have one? I would like that. But it seems like a lot of ridiculous stuff and just things that, I would like to talk about number one and be thankful that all these neighborhood councils are doing CISs. I wish all you people on the council who's not listening, Ms. Padilla, you're not listening, Ms. Padilla.
I've paused your
Mr.
time.
Nazarian's listening.
Speaker, I've paused your time.
So is
Hold
Mr.
on.
McCosker.
I apologize. Item 42 is about the approval of a final map track
told
located
you.
at 6200 and then 6206 West Wilshire Boulevard. So if you'd like to speak about that, not L. Ron Hubbard Way, which you can speak to during
Okay, so I can
general.
talk about Wilshire Boulevard?
Yes.
Yeah, thank you, sir. Okay, so in Wilshire Boulevard, I was right? There was a map, so, I thank you that you let me know that I was right. And I knew I was. I knew I wasn't talking about yesterday. Anyway, so when you're mapping Wilshire Boulevard, I politely request that you make sure you map it correctly. Like if they have, like on that property, a street that does not have red curbing, please, as the city, don't map and say that it's a no parking area and that you can't, especially if there's fake parking signs on it. I won't mention that it's like on L. Ron Hubbard Way because you said I can't talk about that. I'm talking about on Wilshire Boulevard. Make sure that you map it correctly because like right now, and I won't mention what's happening, that people are getting tickets on L. Ron Hubbard Way because I'm not allowed to talk about that. But I don't want people on Wilshire being duped into tickets that they're paying for when they can't afford it, unless maybe they could afford it better if you'd give them one of these houses, that you're dumping. But, so make sure they're not getting illegal tickets because you're leaving the city open to lawsuits. And I wish and thank you, Ms. Padilla's listening now. I feel it. Thank you, Ms. Padilla. She's making eye contact, but she's not listening.
General public comment?
Thank you. Okay, I'm here about L. Ron Hubbard Way, finally, okay? And, shout out to Smoke and Scan. But I want to say that they have a no parking. They say it's no parking. The city enforces it, I guess, on the word of Scientology because they are your lord and masters of the city, apparently. They even closed off a freaking LAPD CPAP machine for that. Meeting for them. Ridiculous. But it's not. There's no work. And Mr. Hugo, your office or no one can prove to me or to anyone that that street is no parking. And so why are you not allowing people to park on it? Why are people getting tickets and spending money illegally? You guys are opening yourself up to lawsuits because I'd sue you in a heartbeat if you did that to me. And hopefully other people who got tickets will too. And as far as the street vacation, I'm continuing to ask you to say no because they want everything privatized so people cannot, no one can sit there and see what they're doing illegally. Okay, thank you. Thank you for listening, Mr. Nazarian. I appreciate it. Yeah, he's my guy, and I'm gonna.
Next speaker.
Thank you.
Good morning. You have 3 minutes for the items and 1 minute for general public comment. Go ahead.
Thank you, asshole. Now, ladies and gentlemen, in the reports regarding housing, us house niggers cannot live in Los Angeles. Us house niggers are forced to work 3 jobs because your mayor burned a population of homes belonging to the Jujus. Their beautiful homes burned. And that song from Jim Morrison tells you why.
Speaker, which item are you talking about?
I'm speaking in all the fucking housing, fool.
Those are REAP items. Please limit your comments to the REAP items. If you'd like to speak more generally about it, you can do so in general.
Okay, let me in particular speak on one item, asshole attorney.
Thank you.
Take number 31 and CD 13, fool. Removing the property off of the recommendations that I, Armando Herman, on record state that it's unconstitutional to assess people with these type of fines. Every person in America has a right to their home. And if they like their chinchero in their front of the yard, let it stay there. Because that's the shit Los Angeles looks like today because your mayor has failed to provide housing, you dumbass attorney, Jonathan. Even Smoke and Scan's group of people know I'm making a statement on facts, Jack. Look at 32, asshole, Occidental Boulevard. I don't give a fuck about Obama. No one gives a fuck about Obama.
This is your last warning. Stay on topic. We're going to move you to general.
Then we go into CD9, nigga, number 33. Fucking resolutions relative to the fucking removing of property at 1592 East 48th Place. If you have something on rent escrow, people, you need to come here at this podium and defend your right to have those liens and those charges and those fines waived because they're unconstitutional. No one should have the local government assess your property on fines and make you homeless. And then, what I got, 40 seconds, asshole? Look at number 36, asshole, another housing. Look at number 35, another housing. Am I on topic? Look at item 37, another housing. Look at item number 38, it's different. Hollywood Walk of Shame? Fuck you on Ellen Pomimo, whatever her name is. No one gives a fuck about you, other than we want our sidewalk and streets clean of the shit that Scientology has put on the goddamn sidewalk and streets, and we want our street taken back. Now into my non-agenda public
General
comment.
public comment.
You dirty niggers, look what the mayor has done to our beautiful city. She's allowed people to sleep on the sidewalk and street. She's allowed Palestinians to burn the Juju's land off the hills. And now no one wants to build on it. We could build all the homeless housing crisis for vets and homeless people if we took one consideration. And Trump put it on record. Build, 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 drill, drill, drill. And drill that one up your ass, Mr. Attorney, because I don't eat dog. I speak a lot of dog shit about jujus because the reason, the reason, Jonathan,
Furrowing my brow because none of this appears to be under the jurisdiction of the city.
It has to do with jujus. They hold the shackles and the keys to the money tree that you goddamn politicians have been stealing. Stop the criminal activities here in LA.
Next speaker. Good morning, Speaker. I know that's a tough act to follow. Which items would you like to speak to?
Hi, I'm just speaking for public comment.
Okay, you have 1 minute. Go ahead.
My name is Anisha Williams. I'm a fast food worker and also a member of the California Fast Food Union's Workers Union. I am urging the council members to please put our ordinance on the agenda. Too many workers are homeless. Too many workers don't know their rights. Too many CEOs and bosses are taking advantage of workers, of not knowing their rights, stealing our wages. Pregnant women don't even know their rights, don't even know that they are able to get family leave to take care of their unborn children or their infant children. It's very sickening how people allow these things to keep on going, and we're homeless,
your
and
time has
we're
expired,
working for a company that makes so much money. And
Speaker, your time has expired. We have to give everyone the same amount of time. But again, if you'd like to provide additional written comments where there is no limit, you can do so at lacouncilcomment.com. You're also welcome to come to additional meetings.
Buenos días, mi nombre es Julieta García.
Hello, my name is Julieta García. Señora, ¿sobre qué temas quiere comentar?
Comentario público.
Public comment.
So you have 1 minute. Go ahead.
Un minuto, adelante.
Soy trabajadora de comida rápida y el día de hoy estoy aquí en representación de 50,000 trabajadores de Los Ángeles.
I am a fast food worker and I'm here today representing 50,000 workers in the city of Los Angeles,
de los cuales estamos tan decepcionados el día de hoy
which we are very deceived on today
porque quitaron de su agenda el tema tratar de comida rápida.
because you guys took the fast food ordinance off of the agenda.
En mi caso me siguen robando cada pago $87.
And from my check, I get, they steal from me $87,
Eso significa 3 días de comida para mi familia,
which means 3 days of food for my family.
mientras ustedes gozan de buena comida, mi familia y yo.
While you guys get to enjoy good food, my family and I,
Nos falta por el robo de salario que sufrimos todos los trabajadores en la industria de comida rápida.
and we are not able to afford due to the theft of our wages that we get, that we suffer, all us workers in the fast food industry.
Es por eso que les suplicamos
And that is why we are pleased, begging you,
que esta ordenanza
that this ordinance
sea aprobada y sea una ley
be approved and put into law
para que dejen de haber abusos en la industria de comida rápida.
so that there are no more abuses and injustices in the fast food industry.
por favor, aprueben la ley de trabajo justo en la industria de comida rápida. Gracias.
Please approve the fair and just fast food ordinance. Thank you.
My name is Christine Adolph, and I'm a librarian at Central Library. And I lost my home in January in the Eaton fires, and I'm here to speak about the city employee disaster relief for me and my colleagues who have also lost their homes in Altadena. We are asking for paid city relief time. The most pressing issue we have is paid time off to rebuild our lives. Starting from scratch is extremely time-consuming and overwhelming. We need to speak with our insurance agencies, find housing, replace our possessions, find mental health care, provide safe environments for our children who may be displaced. My daughter attended the local elementary school, which was closed due to severe fire damage. So time would really benefit us to kind of take care of everything. Thank you for your consideration.
Okay. General, we have a housing project on Wood Lake and Satakoy Avenues in West Hills, and they want to build a 5-story, 382 apartment, low-income housing, and then they changed it, oh, it's going to be senior housing. But it's right in the middle of all single-family homes. There's not another apartment building for almost a mile. Also, it has very bad egress and ingress for the for the in and out, okay? And it is an abomination. These houses are valued at $1 million, and they're going to put this housing project there. It's not, it's from Sacramento. They've taken your...
Speaker, your time has expired. We have to move on to the next speaker.
I just wanted to say that I'm very disappointed about a vote that was done earlier today in regards to item 1, the neighborhood councils. I think that while the neighborhood councils are currently having their elections, it was a really bad time to basically send a message to the public of the city of Los Angeles that if you volunteer years and put in years of your life to volunteer to improve your community, that the city doesn't and your community don't value you anymore, and that you're going to be removed and not allowed to participate any longer due to term limits. So that is a concern of mine, and I want to say I'm sorry for the disrespect that you guys receive from others. I know that you work really hard, and it's never going to be perfect, and never is everybody going to agree, but I do appreciate the work that you do. Thank you.
So going to 29, all right, you have something being discussed by LAHD, and I see here none submitted on the CIS report. I know for a fact when I attended the Board of Neighborhood Council meetings, they approached and they clearly stated that nobody has solicited a CIS report from them and they were never given enough time. How can you possibly sit here, and especially you, Hugo, I know you have one here, it's 31 that I'll get to in just a bit. How can you possibly sit here in good faith and say you're doing right by housing and you don't even actively solicit your own constituents? I know each and every one of your neighborhood councils better than you guys do. They know me by name, and they even say that you guys don't even attend those meetings or even have one of your liaisons there. How can you sit here and vote in good faith on any of these housing items at all? How are you not getting the voice of your constituents? And how, still to this day, do we not have any financial oversight on some of these initiatives like Inside Safe? Your own city controller is literally saying not only is the city broke, but that initiative is corrupt to the core and has no oversight. I'll move on to 31 now. 31 is, again, another LAHD item by none other than Hugo. Hugo, you can't even look me in the eyes, man. Your own constituents are telling you what a scumbag you are for colluding with Bass and not having any oversight on Inside Safe and not helping out your own constituents, and you want no oversight of your own unions. What are you doing, Hugo? You should resign, and you know it. You're a disgrace, just like many other you on the board. I mean, you have an indicted council member on crimes still sitting here, being allowed in this very room. What an absolute clown show, absolute disgrace. And you have Hernandez, who says she's going to stick up for somebody, make a public post about it, only to lie about it, Hernandez. What are you doing? What are you doing? Moving on to general public comment item.
Okay, you have 1 minute. Go ahead.
I want to say there is a street vacation unlawfully being taken on a public street, L. Ron Hubbard Way, and the city is broke and needs money. How do you do that? I'll give you a very bulletproof legal way of doing it. You don't even have to harass protesters, city attorney, with malicious prosecution of charges. I'll tell you how you can do that. You can install legitimate parking meters, and you can also back collect on over $1.25 million for violation of 5611 and 5612 unlawful blockade of the public right-of-way on L. Ron Hubbard Way and Catalina and Fountain Avenue. That's how you do it. You can also punish them with 647 PC. That's a criminal misdemeanor. Their executives hold them in jail for a year, $2,500 per fine, per violation, per day. Each one is a new case. Throw them in jail. Throw them in the court system, just like you're doing to activists. There you go. Make money the legitimate way, not through your scummy programs like Inside Safe.
Okay. Before the next speaker begins, so we're not starting your time. Hold on just a second. Just as an FYI to the public, there are over 99, I believe, neighborhood councils. For neighborhood councils who are listening in, if you would like to submit a community impact statement, you can do so if you approve one as a body, and then you can submit them to the city clerk's portal. So.
All items and general public comment.
Okay, so you have 3 minutes for the items and 1 minute for general. Please begin with the items. Go ahead.
Okay, let's go to the Hollywood Walk of Fame. After all, what I like about that, it doesn't cost us 10 cents. And I was here at the last meeting of Budget and Finance. I think we're about $558 million in the red. So the good thing about the Hollywood Walk of Fame, it's convenient because then good old Reverend Jimmy Swaggart can locate the prostitutes according to where the Hollywood Walk of Fame. After all, just say on Hollywood Boulevard, 6533, at the Allen Pompeo, and I'll meet you there. How convenient. We couldn't be any more convenient. I mean, we could be a streetwalker capital with using these Hollywood Walk of Fame stars as locations. Good for business. It's probably more business than, one of those you haven't run out. Anyway, now let's go buy a subdivision. Well, how much do they cost? Well, I think about $14,000. Yeah, $14,064. That's item 42. Well, it's, what can I say? It's not the 9,000, it's the 14,000. It's in the Jewish district. There's Jewish prices. Now, you can be in denial about that, but remember, denial's in Africa, Egypt, Sudan, all the way down. So much for your denial. You have prices that most people can't afford. That's why we have a lot of homeless, because they can't afford the prices. Now we've got all these things. Oh, wow. 43. Yes, we want to go back to the enforcement of the sitting, lying, sleeping, or storing, using, maintaining, or placing personal property or otherwise obstructing the public right-of-way as further detailed in LAMC Section 4118. You know what this is, folks? This was Chokehold Joe's campaign for mayor, and the guy even dropped out. But that's all this was. It was, I want to be mayor. Let's come up with this silly ordinance that we're not going to enforce, that I'm just going to do for publicity purposes, but I'm going to get stomped by Bass and Caruso and everybody else running for office because nobody's going to vote for a racist white Republican pig running for mayor. And now what's he doing? He's a lobbyist someplace. Any place but here. I get it. So at least he's not going to go to prison. At least he's not going like Englander. But after all, that's all this thing was his gimmick for mayor, nothing else. It's not enforced. You don't do anything about it. And that's, oh, and by the way, Speaking of which, Curran Price, we'll see you in court tomorrow. Isn't that wonderful? One day he's going to make
Not
our
on the
license
agenda, but
plates.
you're welcome to speak. So, general public
I
comment.
know.
Go ahead.
Okay. Sobroff's yes bus. There he goes again, sounding like he did in his failed attempt for mayor. Look at his past record. Yes, he was on an oversight committee monitoring the expenditure of LAUSD school repair Prop BB bonds. Yes, the committee looked for sites to build new schools. Yes, the committee was interested in buying the Van Nuys Drive-In. Yes, Sobroff pulled out his real estate license and sold the property to Christian businessman, Englander supporter, and concerned citizen Bert Bachman. Yes, Bachman flipped the property at our expense, an ill-gotten gain. Yes, that is how Stevie Sobroff operates with his late buddy Bertie Bachman to line their pockets. You want to know what I think about this? It sucks a dick, like this one. Yes, folks, don't trust Stevie Sobroff. All Stevie Sobroff cares about is Stevie Sobroff. And as far as that fire in Palisades with his buddy Bob Brodler as his pal around, I'm glad it burned.
Item 29 through 32 are for the removal of private properties from the rent escrow account. First, these type of REAP account items are the only ones available to comment on because the short man, corrupt, incompetent Dawson and his ridiculous counsel is incompetent and corrupt. I support these items so that indicted and on trial for pay-to-lay and embezzlement schemes, corrupt criminal Curran Price and Dawson cannot place additional liens on these citizens' properties for their developers and personal gain. In my opinion, the REAP account for these items are all properties were targets of indicted criminal Curran Price and Dawson. In my opinion, the REAP funds collected from these citizens' properties should be returned to them or used for social service programs that would benefit the people of Los Angeles because the city is broke with $260 billion in fire damage from the incompetent Mayor Bass and Sleazy Dawson. In my opinion, wording would be added to these REAP account items that would set up a special audit procedure for the collected funds against council corruption, council incompetence, and set procedures and programs that would benefit the property owners via payment into a property improvement fund and anti-corruption fund. Further, in my opinion, due to Curran Price and Dawson's corruption trial and investigation starting tomorrow, Curran Price and Sleazy Marquise Dawson should not be allowed to vote on these items unless the criminal is acquitted of all these pay-to-play and embezzlement charges he is currently on trial for. In my opinion, these items should have the following language added to them, quote, all funds collected from these property owners will be returned to them along with all expenses associated with the liens placed on these properties by the corrupt city government, end quote. Number 38 is for a walk of fame for Ellen Pompeo. In my opinion, this item should include language to include a walk of fame, walk of shame star for the homeless industrial complex epidemic this corrupt government has created and is too incompetent to improve. This star should read as follows. Is anybody out there dumb enough to think Sleazy Marquise Dawson and the rest of the Clown Council now know how to improve homelessness? General public comment. By the numbers, the LA Council is the most corrupt local government in the history of the U.S. Another agenda with near zero items for public comment. Another example of sleaziness, corruption, incompetence, and cowardice of Marquise Dawson. Fire damage, $275 billion, 6,000 homes destroyed. Raging homelessness is epidemic. The city is literally broke from incompetence and corruption. The city paid out over $600 million last
General public
year
comment?
and legal payout because of the LAPD, etc. There is nothing to comment on because these clowns are doing nothing. Look at them sitting and standing around in their incompetence. While the city burned, Bass was tanning and partying, but the coward fired the fire chief to cover her incompetence. Corrupt Dawson was acting mayor in her absence. What was Dawson's response? What did he do? Why was he not coordinating with the fire chief with an appropriate disaster response? We will find out, little man. We demand Dawson's investigation. Thank you.
Good morning. Which items would you like to speak to?
One is already voted on, so that's out. So public comment.
You have 1 minute.
I walked the south side of Ventura Boulevard. If you know what that's like, there are lots of millionaires over there. I was looking for Faith Windsor, and it took about more than a mile, at least a mile. And you see everyone, when you get to her place where the woman, Julie, the geneticist told me to go down where her last known address. By the way, it's a homeless encampment. If you look at it, it says Pig Turd Alley. This is not what a political science professor like Faith Windsor would actually have. I talked to the woman that's living in front. I said, this is a homeless encampment. Look at it. There's little homes everywhere. Somebody's making fun. Someone's letting poor people live in a rich man's area. It's a joke. And she said, oh, that's my neighbor. That's my neighbor. They are hiding.
Speaker, your time has expired. Next speaker.
Thank you for your time this morning. My name is Tina Lerno, and I'm a librarian with the City of Los Angeles. And I'm here today to ask you for disaster relief assistance. I'm a victim of the Eaton fires, and right now our most pressing issue is time. And we're asking for time from the city to take care of the things that we need to do after a disaster such as this. That's all. Thank you.
Good morning.
I'm here for general comment. My name is Nicholas Bielia. I've worked for the City of Los Angeles since 2012. I am currently a librarian at Central Library. I lost everything in the Eaton fire that was not on my back. I estimate that I have used more than 100 hours dealing with the aftermath of the fire. I have exhausted all of my sick, vacation, and personal leave time, and I'm here to ask that you finalize the city employee disaster relief assistance, please. Thank you.
Council members, I am Kirsten Xavier. This is my daughter, Cheyenne Xavier.
Good morning. And which items would you like to speak to?
I am speaking in general.
Okay, you have
I
1
am
minute.
a children's librarian from Council District 7. I lost my home in the Altadena fires, and I'm here asking for disaster relief assistance. Our most urgent need right now is time. I do believe that the EERC spoke about it at the 9 a.m. meeting. It's CF 25006S39, I think was the council motion. So this is, we really need just a little bit of city time to rebuild our lives, and that's what we're asking for. And we've just been through a lot. We've relocated. My daughter is getting home much later every night. It's affecting sleep, eating, just everything. So that's why we're here today, and thank you so much for your time.
You have 1 minute.
My name is Patrick Xavier. I'm the branch manager of Cypress Park Branch Library. I've been a librarian for 20 years serving the communities of Los Angeles. I'm also a fire survivor. You just listened to my wife talk about some of the impacts of the fire, and I really want to urge you to pass that motion to provide city workers with more time. We need time to address our emotional trauma of ourselves and our family, and right now this is just impossible to cut off an hour or half an hour to talk to a counselor. We're dealing with mortgage issues, insurance issues. These are really urgent family issues that we need to deal with to keep our families safe. And this is something that I urge you to pass because, thank you.
Hello, my name is Ainsley Herford, and I'm here on behalf of the Coalition to Abolish Slavery and Trafficking, also known as CAST, and I'm speaking today on the Olympic Wage Ordinance. For over 25 years, CAST has provided vital services to survivors of both labor and sex trafficking here in Los Angeles. We know that poverty is a key risk factor for human trafficking, and workers whose wages don't keep pace with the rising cost of housing are especially vulnerable to victimization. These measures within the Olympic Wage Ordinance are not just necessary, they are critical in preventing exploitation. CAST fully supports the Olympic Wage Ordinance and urges the Council to consider its importance in our collective fight against trafficking. We hope this comes to committee soon so that workers can get their Olympic wage. Vote yes. Thank you.
So with the confluence of these economic conditions, we are projecting that fiscal 25-26 revenues will fall $315 million short of what is currently projected in our four-year outlook. This is an enormous hole to fill, and this is before we take on a number of obligatory cost increases that we are facing for the coming year. So I want to walk you through what we're facing, and then we are going to identify what the total gap is as we are, again, about a month away from considering next year's budget. So our starting gap in the outlook, if you look at our four-year outlook, is $61 million. I just said, as I just stated, due to the worsening economic conditions that contribute to our economy-sensitive tax revenues, we are looking to be $315 million down below what is in our current outlook. On liability claims, as I said, we are likely to spend $320 million on liability claims this year. We budgeted $100 million. In order to budget appropriately, we will have to increase that a minimum of $100 million and probably more. Due to the extraordinary liability payouts required this year, and due to the lower than expected revenue that we began the year with, that we finished the prior year with, so we started with a reserve fund at 4%, and then it was required to draw on the reserve fund to cover many of these extraordinary liabilities. We will finish the year well below our 5% minimum, and there will be a necessary appropriation to the reserve fund to get the reserve fund to the 5% minimum, and that is sizable, $275 million. As many of you are aware, I think all of you are aware at this point, we are heavily subsidizing our solid waste collection program. We project for our next fiscal year that if changes are not made to the rate structure, the general fund will be subsidizing that program by $200 million. That would be $80 million more than what we're subsidizing this year. And so that is something that does need to be addressed, but it's part of the gap that we have to fill. And then we will have an additional pension obligation due principally to the salary increases, and then the measure which consolidated the employees, our public safety employees, into fire and police pensions. That does include a one-time $22 million increase to pensions. So therefore, the gap between anticipated revenues and planned expenditures for fiscal year 25-26 is nearly $1 billion. The proposed budget the mayor will deliver to this council in just over a month from today will close that gap, but it will require extremely difficult cost-cutting decisions. The severity of the revenue decline, paired with rising costs, has created a budget gap that makes layoffs nearly inevitable. We are not looking at dozens or even hundreds of layoffs, but thousands. While layoffs may be necessary, it cannot and will not be the only solution. And I can tell you that the mayor is absolutely committed to preserving as many jobs and city services as possible as we face these economic headwinds. And that means that we need to take other measures immediately to curb the cost increases that are contributing to the deficit.
I have a lot of questions, but given also your presentation, I'm sure a lot of my colleagues now have questions as well. But just since we're on this slide, change the number, structure, and responsibilities of departments to focus the city's work on most critical services. So how would we go about doing that exactly? If you have any suggestions or anything in the works that have already started? And I ask this not to be mean-spirited, not to call into question what's already challenging, but we're already not getting to a lot of the basic services that we need. So that's why I just want to know, how are we going to accomplish this?
So that, excuse me, that is as we are evaluating our required field position reductions, we will need to look at consolidating services. We may need to look at eliminating some departments, and that has to be part of the conversation. If we need to curtail the most damaging way that we could proceed with it is just to kind of remove the bottom layer of the city workforce across the board, kind of indiscriminately. What I believe the mayor is asking for, but I do not want to get ahead of her office, is a more strategic approach to reducing, to the extent that we have to reduce and eliminate filled positions.
Which, if we do, we're impacting generations ahead of us.
The reason that I brought this to this body is to provide the reality that the gap to close, our expenditures have to meet with revenue. When the gap between expenditures and revenue approaches $1 billion, it is not possible to close that gap without looking at reduction of some services somewhere in the city.
Okay, so if it's $1 billion, roughly, what percentage is that of the overall budget? And I assume it's appropriate to say the general fund portion of the budget.
Our general fund budget, our general fund adopted budget this year was $8 billion.
Okay, so fair to say about
13%.
15%, okay, 13%.
Thank you, Matt. One approach, not in providing more revenue, but in sort of easing the revenue process, the budgeting process, is to go to a 2-year budget. Is that something you think would help in our process, in our budgetary process? Is that something you're prepared to support at this time, or would rule against that, or what's what you're thinking?
I don't want to go too much into that. I think there'll be time to discuss the budget process, and there are certainly positives and negatives and trade-offs with a 2-year budget conversation. The process, unless the process is a process that generates revenue, or that results in additional revenue, or it's a process that results in reduced expenditures, that's not going to help close the gap. So we still need, at the end of the day, to align expenditures with revenue. And that very well may be a more useful process in terms of planning, but of course it would have limitations because in 2 years, you would have to make 2-year projections, and given the pace of swings in the economy, it would be actually more difficult to have more precise revenue projections and to base a budget off of that. So you still would have to, under any process that we would adopt, whether it be a 2-year or multi-year budget, there would still be a need to have budget control mechanisms put in place, much like our financial status reports, to make adjustments as we move through the year.
Thank you. Thank you for being here with us today. Can you do you have an example of when the city was in a similar financial situation so that we can place ourselves in the gravity of things, even though we know they're grave?
So the closest that this would compare to would be, and I believe it was the 09-10 budget, which was the first year that the city felt the full impact of the crash in 2008 and the subsequent recession, where I believe the gap to close in that year was about $500 million, and the budget, the total general fund budget, was around $5 billion. Give or take. So that would be the closest comparison.
Great, thank you. Thank you, Council President.